Have you ever wondered why some people seem to get twice as much done with half the effort? Why they move faster, earn more, and look calmer, while you're running in circles just trying to keep up? What if I told you that the secret isn't about working harder? It's about working smarter. Today I'm going to reveal the lazy genius formula, a simple, proven way to achieve more while actually doing less. And once you understand it, your entire life and productivity will never look the same again. The truth is, most people believe success comes from hustle, from long hours, no sleep, and endless grinding. But let me ask you, if hard work alone guaranteed success, wouldn't the hardest workers on the planet be the richest? Think about construction workers, single moms with 2 jobs, delivery drivers pulling 14-hour shifts. They worked harder than most CEOs, but they're not the ones living with freedom. So clearly, hard work isn't the formula. Efficiency is. Leverage is. And that's exactly where the lazy genius formula comes in. The lazy genius isn't lazy the way you think. They're strategic. They know where to apply pressure and where to let go. They don't waste energy on things that don't matter. Instead, they focus on the 20% of actions that create 80% of results. Have you heard of the Pareto principle? It says that in almost everything, a small portion creates the majority of the outcome. Lazy geniuses live by that rule. And once you adopt it, you'll stop chasing everything and finally start achieving what really matters. But let's make this practical. Imagine you're studying for an exam. Most people spend hours reading every single page, highlighting endlessly, trying to cram every detail. But the lazy genius? They figure out what's actually on the test. They study summaries, focus on past questions, and practice the areas that matter most. They might spend half the time, but their results? Way better. That's the lazy genius in action. Now let's take it outside of school. Think about business. While one entrepreneur is working 80 hours a week trying to do everything, another is using systems, outsourcing small tasks, and focusing only on the moves that multiply revenue. Who do you think scales faster? Exactly, the second one, because being a lazy genius is about outcomes, not effort. And here's the kicker. Society glorifies busyness. How many times have you asked someone, "How are you?" and they proudly respond, "Busy," as if being busy equals being successful. But let me be real with you. Busy is just another word for unfocused. Lazy geniuses don't brag about being busy. They brag about results, about freedom, about impact. And that's why people admire them, even if they don't understand how they do it. Now let me tell you a quick story. Back in the early 1900s, an Italian economist named Vilfredo Pareto noticed something strange. He realized that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by just 20% of the people. Curious, he studied more areas and found the same pattern everywhere. A small number of inputs created the biggest outputs. That same principle is behind almost every success story you admire. Whether it's Steve Jobs focusing on a few Apple products or Warren Buffett investing only in his best ideas, they weren't everywhere. They were precise, intentional, lazy geniuses at the highest level. So, how do you apply this to your life? Start by asking one powerful question. What actually matters here? If you're working on a project, ask which part of this creates the biggest impact. If you're trying to get fit, ask which exercises give me the most results in the least amount of time. If you're building a business, ask which clients or products generate 80% of my income. Once you know that, eliminate the rest. Or at least spend less energy on it. Here's another thing lazy geniuses master: systems. Instead of repeating tasks endlessly, they create structures that work for them. Think about it. Do you want to spend mental energy every day deciding what to eat, what to wear, when to work? Or do you want systems that handle it automatically, freeing your brain for the big stuff? That's why Steve Jobs wore the same outfit every day. Not because he lacked style, but because he saved decision-making energy for innovation. That's lazy genius thinking. But wait, there's more. Lazy geniuses also know how to say no, because every time you say yes to something small, you're saying no to something big. The biggest trap is believing you have to do everything. You don't. You have to do what matters, and that's it. Imagine cutting out 70% of the noise in your life, the stress, the unnecessary meetings, the endless scrolling. Suddenly, you're left with time, energy, and clarity. And guess what? That's where achievement lives. Now, let's tackle a myth. Some people think this formula is about being lazy in the negative sense, like avoiding work altogether. Wrong. Lazy geniuses aren't avoiding responsibility. They're choosing responsibility wisely. They're not cutting corners, they're cutting waste. Huge difference. And once you embrace this, people will look at you like you're performing magic. You'll achieve more while they're drowning in busyness. Want proof? Look at the world's top performers. Olympic athletes don't train 24 hours a day. They train strategically. They focus on recovery. They master technique. They know that more effort doesn't always mean more results. The same goes for CEOs, creators, even students who ace exams without burning out. They've all tapped into this formula, consciously or not. But let's get even deeper. The lazy genius formula also applies to your personal life. Think about relationships. Do you need to be constantly available, endlessly texting, always planning big gestures? Or do you need to show up meaningfully in the moments that count? Quality beats quantity. A 10-minute deep conversation can be worth more than 10 hours of shallow interaction. That's the lazy genius way. And here's something powerful. Once you start living like a lazy genius, people notice. They start asking, how do you do it? How do you stay so calm while everyone else is stressed? And that's when you realize you're no longer trapped in the hamster wheel, you're playing a different game, the smart game. So, let's break the formula down into 3 steps. Simplify, systemize, and focus. Simplify by cutting out what doesn't matter. Systemize by creating routines that handle the repetitive stuff. Focus by pouring your energy only into what moves the needle. Do this, and you'll unlock levels of success you never thought possible. And listen, if you're thinking, this sounds too simple, remember this: complexity is the enemy of execution. The reason most people never achieve their goals isn't because the steps are too hard, it's because they make them too complicated. Lazy geniuses win because they keep it simple. Always. Now, here's the real challenge for you. Look at your life right now. Where are you wasting effort? Where are you busy but not productive? Where are you working harder than you need to? Identify just one area, then apply the formula today. Cut the fluff, build a system, focus on the big lever, and watch what happens. You'll be shocked at how quickly things shift. And listen, let me leave you with this. The world doesn't reward effort. It rewards results. Nobody cares how many hours you worked. They care about what you produced, about the value you created, about the impact you made. So stop chasing the illusion of busyness. Start living like a lazy genius. Work less, achieve more, and claim the life you actually deserve. Because here's the truth. You don't need more hours in the day. You need a smarter way to use the hours you already have. And now you know the formula. The only question is, will you use it?